All right, I think we're live. I think Matt. Oh, are you back, Matt? It looked like you were frozen for a little while.
I'm here. I'm here. Am I good?
You seem good, and I
Okay.
can't. I can't. Oh, there we are. We're popping up on YouTube. Hold on. All right,
All
we
right.
are live. Good morning. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Yeah, just trying to catch up. Hopefully, my new setup works. I testing out a Mac Mini M4, so we'll see if this helps. It
So
seems
you
to be
got it?
working. I got it. This is my first stream using it, and the speed is much quicker, and it doesn't drop as much when I jump into Restream. So as of now, it looks like it's working very well. I am streaming on X, and it looks like someone else has connected channel. Is that you, Matt?
Yeah, I should be connected
Okay.
on YouTube and X. So
Hey, what's up, Josh? Good morning. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, it looks a lot better right now, the setup. So yeah, so this was we're gonna nerd out, I guess, a little bit. Or do you guys want to talk about what you guys did for Thanksgiving real quick? How your guys' holiday was, or what you guys did, anything special?
yeah,
Um,
y'all let
yeah.
Jack go ahead kick it off.
Yeah, so Thanksgiving was good. I started the day, or I worked the night before, so I just went straight to my parents' house because they like to have Thanksgiving dinner breakfast. So like
Ooh,
they're
interesting.
always eating at like 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. So I just stayed there, and I made my dinner for Cynthia's side of family at their place, and I just brought it down, and it was a good time.
Ooh, very nice. What was like the best dish that you had at your parents' house, and then what's the best dish that you cooked?
Um, my dad did a spin off of sweet potato fries. Those that was something different.
Nice.
Mm, that
And
sounds pretty good.
the best thing I made was probably, in my opinion, was the cornbread casserole. That was my personal favorite. But
Mm.
everyone seemed to love my cracked carrots, is what I called them, or the apple stuffing.
Yeah. Oh man, that sounds good.
What about you, Matt? What did you do, man?
Dude, so we had so Jess's parents are in town, so we had the in-laws staying with us, and we did a Friendsgiving setup. So one of my good buddies, also in the Coast Guard, we stayed in town, so we had like four sets of friends that kind of it was like a potluck thing. So we did like a roast beef and mashed potatoes and stuffing, and my other buddy did a turkey, and then people brought kind of little hors d'oeuvres and some appetizer stuff. So we kind of just piled it all together and spent Thanksgiving watching some football and spending time with friends and family. So yeah, it was good.
You had to bring up football, didn't you?
I did, you know, because funny enough, there's why I have a soft spot for all the Bears fans out there because my buddy who was hosting it is from Chicago, and so he's a Bears fan. So we watched that game, and I didn't, I didn't, I didn't want to call it, but man, it was quite a fumbling of the bag, so to speak, just at the very end. But I'll just leave it at that. I know we might press a couple buttons, or I might just get kicked out of this live stream from the host. So I'll leave it at that.
And look at that. We're talking about the Bears, and Curtis pops in. Hold on.
See, you're gonna have to get somebody to defend yourself. Now, granted, Washington hasn't played until we got a couple hours, but we haven't really been doing too hot as of the past 3 weeks.
Well, Curtis, we're just catching up on what everyone did for Thanksgiving real quick, but that was a painful ending to the Bears game, and yeah, that's enough I want to say about it right now. But
That's fair.
it was painful for me. But yeah, Curtis, how you been, man? How was your holiday?
Oh man, it's been good because we had a half day at work on Tuesday, and then I've been off since since that time, and it's been great. Just kind of relax, see the family, just do some little things around the house I've put off, kind of just taking advantage.
Cool, man. Yeah, I didn't do much. My son was with his mom, so but I did work yesterday, so which was nice. But got a building fire at 5 in the morning, so I'm tired still. That's why I didn't put this live together till last minute, and yeah, still trying to recover. But I'm getting too old for this stuff, man.
Dang, 5 in the morning. Ooh.
Yeah,
Was it a somebody was frying a turkey? Or I guess it was a
no,
little later than that.
luckily, so Costco, so there's two shopping centers kind of close by. And it's kind of above across a little marina type thing. But I guess the Costco employees, they show up early to stock and move stuff, but they called in sight of smoke across the marina at this at the other shopping center. From the back, so I guess they could see smoke from there where they were, loading or whatever.
Hmm.
So good thing they called it in, and yeah, we got there, and yeah, there was smoke coming from the building, and yeah, I mean, there's restaurants there, so kind of the restaurants took the brunt of it, and the upper units because of the smoke and stuff. But yeah, it could have been a lot worse if the Costco people didn't notice it. I mean, still, but yeah, so still recovering yesterday.
Ooh. And you guys end up being on scene for extended period of time, or?
Yeah, because honestly, the fire itself is usually out. Once you find it, it's fairly out pretty quickly. But it's the matter of making sure it hasn't extended through, because a lot of those are the false ceilings, right? So you got to start taking down the ceilings and making sure there's no extension in the other rooms and things like that. So that's usually what takes the long part, is the overhaul part of it, because we don't want to come back, right? We don't want to leave
Yeah.
and then have to come back. That's like the most, I guess, and especially since we're getting off duty, we don't want the other guys calling us up going, "Hey, you guys didn't put it out. We got to go back because you guys didn't finish your job." That's the kind of stuff we'll get. But that's usually what takes the longest, is the overhaul part of it, is just making sure it hasn't extended into the other units and things like that. So,
Interesting.
wait a minute, who's Aspen Family Fun? Bears actually make Dallas. Okay, that has to. I'm gonna guess that is Janitor on Fire. I'm gonna
Dang.
assume that because he's a Dallas fan. But
He's got his incognito tab or new account, a family account.
yeah,
Posting
he has
updates.
like 4 accounts. But if I go check out, I gotta go find his link. But I'm putting everyone's links, in the comment. I know Matt is trying to move on X very quickly, so go check out his X instead of his or check out both, but go check out his X if possible. Subscribe.
Depends on what type of content you don't want,
Yeah.
video versus maybe some thought.
All right, Janitor on Fire. Is that you, Aspen Family Fun, or is that someone else making fun of me? But yeah, so let's this was a Matt's topic. He wanted to kind of nerd out and maybe talk about what books have really, or books have impacted them, and Curtis came up with "It Can't Be Rich Dad Poor Dad." So
That's good. I
let's
like that. I like that
so
caveat because he knew where I was going.
yeah, all right, so Jack, why don't you start on this one?
I got 5.
Oh man, coming out hot. I
Well,
like it.
let's start with 1. Let's go at 1 first.
Okay, Landlording on Autopilot by Mike Butler.
Mm.
It's a little bit slightly dated, but you can re-implement and just modernize it a little bit. And I really like that book on trying to basically, if it's talking about how you can keep yourself out of your investments as much, and you can be minimally impacted by it. So in his book, he's talking about how he built up his portfolio to like 75 units and was only putting in like less than 5 hours a week managing all of them.
Oh wow.
And so that's an older book, you said?
Yeah, I think it was written in the early 2000s. So a couple things I would change with it is he has people going to his storefront or his office and stuff to sign out keys and stuff. I would do everything he said in that section, for example, like he said, except instead of having people show up to sign out a key, I would just have everything with virtual locks and stuff, and just make a combination that they could just punch in and then do a self-guided tour that way, instead of having them. Because like my whole thing is, I really don't want a storefront per se as much, because then it gives you the chance and the opportunity for people to keep stopping by, and another way to access you to potentially yell or be unhappy, or just a lot of unnecessary stuff that you just really don't need to deal with.
Any of you guys checked out that book or anything?
I personally have not heard of it, but that's yeah. You said it was basics of landlording.
Landlording on autopilot.
Oh, landlording autopilot. I like the
Yeah.
principle though. I like the principle. Right? Try to remove yourself from the business and work on your business, not in the business, so to speak.
Another big thing I already did this one was, he talks about the importance of having like a Google Voice number and using that. I really like the Google Voice number. The only thing I don't like about it afterwards, since I've been using it for a while with the rental properties, is if you get a phone call on the, it just says Google Voice on my phone. It doesn't actually say who's actually calling me. So it's, I don't know. That's the one thing I don't like about Google Voice.
Mm.
I actually kind of want to talk to my cell phone provider and see if there isn't a way of me getting a second number or a second line, even just paying a little bit extra for it, but not having it to a phone, just having it like just an extra number, because at that point I can forward it just to my phone and just turn it on and off.
I think you can get a second line for your carrier, but and then it'll pop up on it as the business when
Yeah.
somebody calls you, I think. But you just gotta check with them. But Hugo's here. What's up, man? But he looks like he's tuning in from X. And I don't know how to reply to those, because when I go to X, I don't see your comment there actually. So unless he's coming from Matt's side, but
Oh,
I don't know.
interesting.
But I know he's
On
commenting.
Restream.
So I see it from Restream, but it has the
I
X
see what
logo
you're saying.
next to it. But when I go to my X, I don't see him commenting. So it might be on yours. But what's up, Hugo? Hope you had a happy Thanksgiving, man. Same to you, Kyle, Janitor on Fire. But I want to quickly touch on Daryl, Janitor on Fires. Go check out one of his videos. He has a video out talking about who is Janitor on Fire, and he goes over some of the
that's cool.
Yeah, he goes over some of the properties that he owns, and it's very interesting. He pays his mortgages, or he pays them up in advance. So some of his payments aren't due till like 2026, I believe, or something like that. But he stays in advance because he's, I guess a little adverse on the debt side and worried about losing things. But he pays in advance. So yeah, go check that out. It's a lot of a cool story and some cool properties out there. But what about you, Curtis? Chicago Bears fan book, or what's your
Yeah. Ever since this Bears talk has happened, my channel's just gone down.
He said
Um,
the Mike Ditka basics.
So I have a real issue is I'll start a lot of books and I'll take some key things and then I won't always finish said book. I'll just take a few of the key things I learned and then try to go implement it and then don't always come back. But one book that I got most of the way through to try to implement a lot of is Set for Life by Scott Trench. A lot of those principles I was able to implement kind of early on. He talks about trying to set a financial runway where you kind of build up that 6 months reserve. You increase your income, decrease your expenses, house hacking, kind of all of the things that like Dion would talk about, just kind of reframed. And that book really kind of changed the way that I thought. I was like, okay, this financial independence doesn't have to be that hard as long as I can do it for 5 to 10 years and kind of do what the book maps out. It's very attainable.
I am kind of in your camp where reading entire books now is just challenging. Just it's more from you being so busy, and then there's a new book that comes out or something. So definitely for me, it's still I still enjoy Coach Carson's book. Really changed the way I kind of viewed like the portfolio size and small and mighty. Of course, one rental at a time. I think probably my favorite book, or maybe most impactful book, probably hasn't even come out yet. Is when Dion's book comes out. I think that's going to be a book that's going to be very insightful, and all his Dionisms on how the way he kind of contrarian thinker and sees things a little bit differently from a lot of people. So I think that book is going to be super interesting once it does come out, and I believe he is working on one. So I think that should be interesting. But going back to your point, Curtis, I think for me, it's really has also kind of like I know we talk about politics a little bit and whatnot, but how mainstream media has kind of died, right? And things have kind of moved over to like social media, X, long form content, podcast, and I think even for me, like that's where my focus is as getting my information and mindset stuff. And like you're saying too, it's not always, you don't have to always listen to the entire video. You can pick up key points or the short clips. So I definitely like a lot of podcasts I've been listening to. It's weird too. I mean, maybe it's just the times, but a lot of my stuff has been a little bit more political type stuff and things like that. But it's very interesting because for me, I think I didn't really realize maybe how much that actually makes you a better investor in a sense, or even from a business or the economy standpoint. So, a lot of times maybe they're not going to implement a lot of these things that they say are policies, but it's interesting hearing both sides, how they're either the pros and cons of it. And to me, that's super helpful in just kind of building your mindset on how the economy works or what you're going to do the next 10 years and things like that. So that podcast, Substack is pretty cool because it's like shorter form kind of blogs and whatnot. So like even like Kyla Scanlon, I don't know if any of you follow her, but she writes more about economy, things like that. So her, and what's the guy's name, what's his name, Prop G, or what's his name, Professor G Galloway. I forget, but yeah, yeah, he's on YouTube X, but I really enjoy a lot of his stuff. Don't agree with all of it, but it's interesting to hear his side. But definitely podcasts and long form stuff is kind of more where I'm geared to right now. But
Yeah.
Matt, what about you, man?
Oh, yeah. So for books, um, yeah, I'd say a little similar to what you guys were referencing in terms of, you see, you might come across where people are like, hey, one book a week, right? You know, it's week 13. I've got 13 books out of 52. Like this is gonna be my year. And at first I was like, man, I gotta read a lot more books. And then as I started to like kind of reflect on it, it was more so not reading for the amount of books, but finding books and like kind of what you're talking about, like finding main points in a book that you can really apply to, improve or change your life, right? Isn't that the point of reading is to, inform yourself and hopefully make that change, depending on if it's nonfiction or fiction, whatever, but just to kind of get your mind thinking about that. So when I started thinking that way, and that was probably like a couple of years ago, I find I just read the same maybe few books, and so I'm not going to reference that purple book, but there's another book that I have here, but it is called The Book on Mental Toughness by Andy Frisella.
Hmm.
Yeah, I like show and tell, right? Pictures worth a thousand words. So the thing I like about this book is, for those of you that don't know, right, Andy Frisella started First Form supplement and vitamin supplement and nutrition company out of St. Louis, Missouri. He's got a podcast, Real AF. But the main purpose of the book, right, is to um, kind of reflect on this sort of um, taking ownership of, you are in control of your fate and your future by, learning the skills of what encompasses kind of mental toughness, right? So, grit, discipline, resilience, fortitude, these are all skills that you can work on, and they're perishable skills, which is why you need to continue, um, to work on these things, right? And I feel like that can apply to a lot of aspects of life, right? So this can apply to finances if your niche is finances. This can apply to real estate if your niche is real estate, and so on and so forth. Is being consistent, showing up, doing the work, and having that kind of belief or faith that given a long time horizon, right, you're going to be successful, because you're putting that work in, learning the skills now that will pay dividends. And I'll trying to cut this long-winded answer short. I think a big phrase of that was like, show me someone's last 1,000 days, and I'll show you where they are in life, right? So it's like talking about, you're building those daily habits, right? Are you eating healthy? Are you getting exercise? Or are you doing a lot of deal analysis, right? You're doing a deal analysis in your, because we talk kind of real estate in this channel. So, are you doing the work, right? And show me that last 1,000 days, and I'll probably show you where your real estate portfolio is, or I'll show you where your net worth is, or I'll show you where your family and friends are kind of how they view you, right? Are you changing? Are you not? So a long-winded answer to hopefully kind of reflect that. I think if you can pick books that really apply to what you are in your season of life, and maybe that you can get a better benefit from rereading those books, because I know that I at least have.
Have any of you checked out that book, Curtis, Jack?
No, I've never heard of it. I'm gonna check it out.
I think it came out. It came
Yeah.
out in 2023, so it's relatively, yeah, 2023. Um,
Is it kind of like Jocko's Extreme Ownership?
I think you could kind of group them together in terms of a personal development. Even though that Andy Frisella primarily is an entrepreneur or business owner, right? I think this is kind of that down that path of things. So I like it because it's applicable to very aspects of life, regardless of your career, profession. If you're an entrepreneur or even an intrapreneur, right? A lot of these same principles, I feel like can be beneficial for you.
Yeah, I like following his stuff. I mean, I haven't read the book, but definitely his short form stuff. And it really, like you said, it's very motivating, and it's kind of eye opening. And just like you're saying, it really comes down to a lot of the things we talk about is just being accountable, right? Holding yourself accountable for what you're doing daily, and surrounding yourself with other people that will kind of help you along the journey, or guide you along, or be willing to point out maybe if you're not following up on what you said you're going to do, or things like that. So I think that's the important thing too, right? So Jack, you said you had 5 books. What's your second book you have on there?
Well, Curtis actually just mentioned it. Extreme Ownership.
Oh, what's your I mean, so is that how would you, is that more like you're saying for real estate, or just in general for you?
Originally, I was looking at it for real estate, but I realized that it applies to a lot of different things in life, and it's just the biggest takeaway for me from that book was just how to necessarily talk to people, because I work with large groups of people all the time. So it's how to coordinate and how to talk and take responsibility and learn from you talking to someone how they may have not understood what you wanted, and just taking that mindset and adapting it so that people, large groups of people actually can follow through with what you're saying, and giving them the freedom to make the smaller decisions so you're not overburdened trying to handle everything, and learning, just treating everyone below you kind of like a more or less a chessboard, but allowing the pieces to kind of move on their own.
Hmm.
That was kind of my biggest takeaway from the book.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. I mean, I think, for me, it's always, and Matt, maybe, from being in the military and stuff, but it's like kind of, kind of have this chain of command that you have your captain or your chiefs, your captain, and you can see maybe which captains or which rank personnel, um, based on the crews they work with, right? Like what kind of how effective they are, right? So, every captain has their own style. Some are a little more hands-on, but at the same time, it's also knowing who's on your truck, who's your personnel. Like, are they a recruit? Are they a rookie? Are they seasoned? And it's also how much you're gonna let them, like you're saying, Jack, like move on their own, right? And kind of how are you gonna hold their hand the entire way, or at some point, are you gonna let the pieces kind of move on their own based on your guys' training or what you've shown them? Like if someone works on your property, right, and this is like the third or fourth time they're doing something for you, they probably have an idea kind of what kind of work you want or how you want things done or how you're going to get paid. So you're kind of setting these guidelines so that it makes things a lot smoother working with this person, right? So I think that's kind of what you're talking about, how it's just kind of letting the board kind of, you're setting the rules, but you're kind of letting the board or the pieces play out on their own, right? So
Mhm.
yeah, that's super interesting. Yeah. What about you, Curtis? You got another book on your list or?
Yeah, I just kind of started this one, but it's some really good stuff, and I listened to a lot of his stuff on YouTube. Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss.
Hmm.
A lot of that is communication based, and like it can obviously apply to like the business world, but I've started to try to implement it in my everyday life too. Kind of the mirroring and the labeling and all of that stuff, and it's kind of making me like think about all my interactions a little bit more.
That is the one book that you talk to a lot of realtors. They're gonna say like that's the book that you have to read. And yeah, it is. What was he? He was a hostage
FBI
negotiator,
agent.
or
Yeah.
yeah, like yeah. So yeah, I read parts of it, and it's yeah, it makes you think, right? You start going back, reflecting back on other conversations you've had, and you're like, was that person doing that to me, or could I have done something different? But yeah, you read that book, I guess, Matt.
Yeah, no, and I like that recommendation. It's so funny because, I'm not, I don't, claim to be a very good listener, but I feel like when I read that book, I had to reflect on like, dang, maybe if I was a better listener and like kind of using like the mirroring, how that really impacts my life, or asking those open-ended questions as opposed to those closed-end, like, I don't want to get a yes or no. I want you to kind of like think about it, and like every conversation kind of is like a negotiation. So I feel like that's a very practical book that that's worth another read, right? Like I've read it probably 3 years ago now, but that could be another book where it's like, you know what, it'd be good to pick it up again and refresh on those different topics, because I don't, you're never gonna, completely immerse and understand it on that first read. So that book is definitely worth a second and third for sure.
Yeah, and it was interesting as I was hearing the things. I was like, okay, I do this as a teacher with the kids, right? Because I don't want them to respond as yes or no. So kind of asking those open ended, or I negotiate with kids all day long, right? And
Yeah,
so, uh,
very applicable book.
and so now translating that to kind of everyday life was a very interesting for my mind.
Changing topics real quick, but I don't think I talked to you since then. Curtis, did you go to the Robin Hood event? Were you
I,
there?
yes, yeah.
How was that?
Oh man, it was great. It was a little bit smaller than in years past, which was great. So instead of like like a event, it was more of like a mastermind because there's maybe 10 to 12 of us, and then there were
Oh,
6 speakers there. So like there was a lot of time to go and talk to Cody, Christian, Dion, Mike, Caleb was there, right? And so there was not like this, oh, I have to go wait in line to go talk to the speaker, right? It was very just like, oh, hey, this is what's like happening, and um those guys are doing those big apartments while that's very cool there, and like I'm not quite there yet. There is some still stuff I could take away from it, and then of course Dion with the country and views and things like that. But if you're in the Pacific Northwest, I recommend you go. They typically do 1 to 2 per year, and so definitely would say to go.
Yeah, it looked fun. They were streaming it live too, I think, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think they streamed every speaker, which is cool. And there's value in those clips, but I think the real value from those things is when you can talk to the people and say, "Hey, this is what I have going on. How can I apply what you just talked about to what I'm doing here?"
And I think Dion got a hold of Millennial Mike's account while it was streaming.
Yeah, we were all laughing about it. It was good.
Uh, what about you, Jack? Did you do any Black Friday hotel room searching for Vegas, the Vegas event?
I did. I went ahead and booked my room and stuff.
Where are you staying?
Oh, nice.
I forget.
It was such a good deal. He's trying not to, let everybody know.
No, it originally was like, I think like 900, and I got it for basically 600 out the door. But I don't know. Mikey kind of did all the pre-work for me. He just like, this is the one I'm gonna probably stay at. You should get this one. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't look at it. I should have. Maybe they have what is Cyber Monday?
It's
Yeah.
their Black
That's
Friday
great.
special runs for like a week and a half, so you're probably still good.
Yeah, I think it was the same. The Mikey told me where you were staying. I forget. I think that's where we stayed last year. Yeah. Well, any other books you guys want to talk about? Anything else? Any other mindset stuff that you guys are, like I said, for me, I don't know if you guys, I've really been enjoying, I don't know if you guys seen this podcast before, so it's on YouTube, I mean, but Trigonometry. So it's kind of like, I don't know if it's all political, but it's just, people from the left and the right side, talking, discussing, but I really enjoy that. They're very kind of down the middle and willing to listen to both sides and kind of hear everyone's views. But I've been really enjoying that one. I forget. I think there are two comedians though, and they started this YouTube podcast, and now it's kind of blown up on them. But who did they have on recently? That Brianna Wu. I don't know if you guys know who she is. She's like a transgender. But yeah, she's, even her, she's just like, the left is just, like, she's a transgender person, and it's just like, I don't even, you guys are trying to speak for us and make things harder for our community, right? And it's interesting to hear her side of things and kind of how, like, yeah, like, how the left definitely has gone too far, and kind of how they need to reevaluate things if they want to, hopefully perform better in the next elections and things. But she's just like, I can see for like 20 years it being Republican at the way, kind of the Democratic Party, and how they're not even like acknowledging why they lost in a sense, or how they lost. So it's pretty interesting. But yeah, what else you guys working on? What other thoughts you guys have?
Well, I was gonna say earlier you talked about how like those podcast long form content is and maybe some of that political economic stuff is reshaping maybe your investment portfolio. Do you have you have a recent example of that, or is it just kind of keeping you up to date and informed on how to navigate maybe your investments in the future?
Yeah, not necessarily reshaping. It's more like, a lot of times people be like, oh, politicians lie or whatnot, and they say they're going to do this and they don't do it, and what they don't implement it. So if from that standpoint, it's more, for me, I find it interesting now, where I'm listening to what both sides are saying, and whether they do it or they don't do it, it's more interesting for me, like, hearing other people's viewpoints on why they don't think it's going to work, or why it's not going to have an effect like so and so is saying. So, like, like tariffs, right? You can hear both sides on tariffs, and how it might be good, how it might be bad, how it might do this, how it might do that. So like 5 years ago, I would have had no clue probably about what tariffs were. It would just been what the media says is going to happen. I'm going to be, oh, this is a terrible idea, right? But now it's like, you're kind of listening to both sides, and they both have their good viewpoints on it. And now you kind of have to kind of form your own opinion on what you think might happen. But I think that's just opening up my mind to kind of seeing not necessarily, even like just what's happening in Hawaii. Yeah, it's important to know what's happening in your backyard, but you're seeing it from a bigger scale, on what's happening in China can trickle down and affect us here, right? So like it's just opening up my mind in that sense. And I find that super interesting on how, like you know Zuber or all these influencers speak about, right, is continuing to grow and improve. And I think that's what it is. Like it's this so I started more real estate, focusing on real estate, focusing on maybe Pittsburgh. But now it's gotten to be more like a broader sense where I'm trying to figure out what's happening in the economy, worldwide, and how it relates back to here. And we got, is that Ray popping in, Curtis?
Yeah, he's just creeping.
No, cool, man. He's doing cool stuff. And he's going to be in Vegas, right? I think he bought his tickets, he said. So get to meet Ray. Just don't be awkward now, Ray. That's the first thing you told me when I talked to you, or something.
Well, he was setting that expectation so he can exceed that when you guys meet in person. I like it, man. Set the bar so low. I love it, dude.
Mark, do you think trying to get all this broad and macro information, do you think it's helped you in your goals, or do you think it's kind of slowed it down because you're focusing on so much stuff?
I think it's just made me a better financially, in a sense, where I see the bigger picture. And of course, I think because my journey kind of went from wanting to have a huge portfolio to being more like Dion or Coach Carson and small and mighty, it's definitely not as active, in a sense where I'm hunting for deals and things like that. So I think it's just more of I find it interesting, like what's going on economy wise and around the world. And like I said, like, I mean, like tariffs, right? It's such a controversial thing, right? The one side is saying if tariffs do this, it's a horrible idea. And there's other side saying, oh, it's like posturing, it's like deal making. And so it's super interesting to me now. And I guess maybe because for like let's say 40 years I've never really paid attention to that type of things. And it's interesting to see how, like, if you're not following it, like, right, you kind of, like we talk about, right, you kind of just fall into this rat race. And there's those that are just working paycheck to paycheck, and thinking that they're working, what does Dion like to say, working for their W-2, in a sense, right, their paycheck per hour, when you don't really realize what's going on outside, is what's impacting you and things like that. So I think overall it's made me more knowledgeable and better. But I can see where, yeah, I mean, if there's going to be times where you're probably going to be focusing more on looking for deals or working at some investment type stuff. But right now, just where I'm at, this is kind of, I guess, what I'm focused on, in a sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I asked that because I'm in my 20s, and so some of the people that are my age are so focused on the outside, or focused on politics, or all of that stuff. And then I asked them, okay, well, what's your goals? What's going on? And they don't really have a whole lot. So I didn't think you fell into to that camp, Mark, but that's something that I've noticed with some younger folks, is that they can tell you all about the politics and why one side's good or one side's bad, but they sometimes focus on it too much.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like you're,
It paralyzes them.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Kind of like what it's just, it goes back to that whole analysis paralysis, right? Like, these people, like you're saying, they're understanding both sides of the party, but then it's like, okay, what are you going to do with that information, right? So That's a great point, and I think maybe that's why it's better that I was investing first, and then now it's like now I'm seeing how it relates to whatever I'm doing. Whereas if I was just concerned about, oh, this side is horrible or this side is horrible and these guys are crazy and what, and then it'd be like, okay, now I'm like you're saying, now I'm stuck. Like, what do I do, right? Because now I have no um, I don't have anything in the game right now. So it's like, where do I go from here, right? I mean, I have this side, this opinion, but so I think it's more, yeah, you got to kind of get a foundation first, and like you're saying, so like your younger friends or people around your age, yeah, I mean, it's good to know. I think what's happening, but don't let it kind of, I guess, paralyze you in a sense.
Yeah, he had a couple more books. I'm intrigued what's on that list.
Well, what's funny is you already mentioned another one of mine.
Holy, you guys are like on the same page, man.
Never split the
The
difference.
same wavelength right there. I'm taking notes. I'm taking notes of these books.
But the last two books are The Richest Man in Babylon, written by George S.
Awesome.
Yeah. And I like that book because I don't want to say it's kind of like in the same, I would say the same area as like Rich Dad Poor Dad, but instead of it being an entire book about his life journey, it's a bunch of like smaller stories, so it's easier to kind of follow along, especially like for someone like myself, and I'm sure you guys are in the same boat as me, where you might only have, because I listen to everything, so it's like you might only have 15 or 20 minutes, but that's one story, and they all compound off one another and stuff. So it's interesting to see how it all works and comes together in that aspect.
Nice. Yeah, I actually haven't read that book, but I definitely have heard of it. What was one story in there that was worth the read?
I like the story about the father and the son. So this is actually a good ways later in the book. I want to say it's like 3/4 of the way through. And what it's talking about is the father built up all this wealth and stuff over the years of working and stuff. And he said, basically, sent his son out, said that he couldn't have his wealth until he developed his own wealth. And I think the son went out for, I forget how many years, 5 or 10 years, and acquired his own wealth. And when he came back, the father threw a huge, massive party because he became so wealthy and learned how to handle money on his own. And then he's like, "Okay, you've done well, blah 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 blah. Now you can have my wealth." And so it's like, "I don't need it."
Mm. That's very. Yeah, I feel like, man, that's such an interesting perspective, right? Like you could either be an enabler, right, where you're the one giving the wealth, or seeing them kind of like fish on their own or teaching them how to fish on their own. I feel like that's
Hmm.
yeah, that story repeats itself. I feel in lots of aspects of life.
Talking about father figures or whatnot, I want to talk about old guy REI Frank. Just remind everyone about the shirt that he's selling for the ORAD event. So the PayPal link for the shirts down below in the comments. But if people don't know, he is trying to raise money to give to donate to the blind center. So I believe the shirts are $30. That includes shipping. And for each shirt, I think $10 proceeds is going to go to the donation. So the goal is 100 shirts, so $1,000 donation to the blind center. So if you haven't picked it up, go check it out. It's a super nice shirt. Yeah.
That's cool.
What else was I gonna say? Yeah, Ray said we're gonna keep it weird. I don't know, man. Ray, anytime you wanna hop on here, we can bring you on here, man. I think it'll be fun. Just let me know. But there was some. Oh, I know what I was gonna say too. Talking about branching out and we always talk about getting out of your comfort zone, things like that. But Curtis, I saw you was on Ariel's channel. You did a video with Ariel. You guys didn't even tell me about it. I just seen it pop up on YouTube, and I'm like, what the hell is going on, man? But how was that?
that was great. It was different than being on yours. She was prepared. She had notes. she had,
Yes, she's very structured and
yeah,
she's
she's very
yeah.
Hilarious.
structured. And so I
Yeah.
was like, okay, this is how it's supposed to be done. Uh,
Yes, I
no,
agree. I agree.
no, but it was great. She is doing some great stuff over there with coffee closers and all that technology. Um, I'm excited for what their new product is. I think it comes out. Is it this month?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or yeah, yeah.
And so they're kind of tying. I don't know if you two have seen it, but they kind of really overlay all the data, so it's all on one kind of page, and then now they're also embedding creative like
Mhm.
finance into it. So that part will be really cool because what I've been having to kind of do is open up Redfin, open up the MLS, go to ChatGPT, kind of go back and forth
Yeah.
between tabs. And with this new one that she was telling me about, I can kind of do it all on one one page.
Yep. And even you can even make like almost like a letter, right?
Mm-hmm.
To the seller, right? Like a creative finance type of not offer, I would say, but kind of like a
A proposal.
proposal in a sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I totally agree. She's very prepared and structured. So right, even her like her um message to remind you about the meeting, right? It's like mine are like here, link this time. Hers is like this full email, like click on this link to do this, click
Sometimes
on
you
this.
might not even get an email subject. It'll just say no subject in parentheses. You might just, this is spam. Damn, I'm about
Hey,
to send
if
money
you
to Bitcoin Prince in Nigeria, Mark. What's going on?
hey, if you guys come up with topics every time, we'll come in more prepared. But this
Hey,
was like last
I
minute,
got
man.
I got no
See,
I got no feedback,
yeah, we
man.
just try to wing it and have fun. That's why me and Ariel blend well when we do a live because it's like she's a little more structured and focused, and I'll kind of just talk about whatever's. But yeah, it's always fun, man. What about you, Jack? Did you I think I tagged you on that one Pittsburgh meetup or event. Did you find out more about that or whatnot?
I completely forgot about it, to be honest with you. I'm gonna have to go look it back up again.
Oh, I heard
Yeah.
Greg's doing some work for you.
Yeah, yeah. He um he went to go check out the one unit I was supposed to move into, but some things came up, so I'm not gonna move in there.
Mm,
It's just the place is too far out of the way. Like it's like another half hour north from where I work, so it's almost like an hour and 20 minutes from where Cynthia is in the city, and the whole drive and everything is just it's not convenient. And a few times Cynthia was up my area, and she's like, "Well, where are we gonna go? Are we gonna go to your place? We're gonna go back to my place." It's like your place. It's a 20-minute drive. Mine's like 45. So it's not convenient at all, but it's a good investment property.
how's the weather? Because Matt, when he popped on this morning, said it's cold where he's at. What about you guys?
I don't
Relative,
know. I
it's like
mean,
50.
it's Pittsburgh. It's 19 degrees. It's beautiful.
19.
It's beautiful. There's no cloud in the sky. There's green grass. It's a beautiful day.
You lost me at 19. Did you start with 19, you said?
Yeah,
Oh, I feel it in my bones already.
Matt, where are you at?
I'm in New
Pittsburgh.
Orleans. I'm in New Orleans. Yeah, so it's
And he's in his Tesla right now.
New
yeah, I
Orleans.
got the
Wow.
seat heated. Got the seat
Yeah, I don't like New Orleans. The few times I've been there, it's so swampy. I'm a big guy. I sweat. It's not a good mixture, man.
That is fair. I will say this time of year though, because it's like 50, high of 60s. The sun's out. It's a lot more bearable. But I do know what you're talking about. Like the humidity in the summer is like without AC, it's unbearable. So I hear you, man. I hear you.
Are you still on the fence about Vegas, Matt, or you haven't decided yet?
Well, I might be the only one holding it
Mhm.
down that week, because so just one of Jess's close friends, they had a wedding that was in Tampa, but this past hurricane season, I think it was the most recent one. I forget the name, but it was supposed to make landfall like on Saturday, and their wedding was on a Sunday. So like long story short, like the whole city lost power. It was over in by St. Pete, I think it's called, like Deniden, Florida. But anyways, they like lost power. They ended up having to reschedule, and they rescheduled it for that week in last week of February, I believe, right? I think so. I have to double check, but so that might complicate things. We're still trying to see what if she's gonna be able to make it out there with her school. But I still got the Google notifications on those flights, so I'm tracking them, man. I'm tracking them.
Uh,
It
you
will be
know,
fun. We're gonna go out for New Year's. Like we go out to Vegas for New Year's. We'll see my family out there, or yeah, my family will fly out. So, I mean, I'll just be there early. I'll just be there 2 months early. So I'm be like, where y'all at?
man, all you people that said you were going, nah, I'm not. I don't know if you're not gonna be there. Lauren, I don't. Lauren messaged me the other day, but I'm not. She hasn't said anything. Joel, I don't know. He's kind of flaky, so he might not show up. Sierra's probably not gonna make it this year, she said. But yeah, actually, we was talking about changing a little bit about Black Friday and stuff. Do you guys still buy books, like hard copy books, or is it all like audio books and things?
The last book I physically bought was 15 Conversations,
Mm.
the Michael Zuber book. And the whole reason why I bought it was I thought there was going to be more, because he was talking about how the pictures cost a lot more selling through Amazon and stuff. So I thought there's going to be pictures of each person, like at the beginning of the chapter or something. I could just follow along with Dion. And there's
Mm.
not. There's like 2 pictures in the whole thing. And I I kind of sat back. I was like, I can't believe I actually bought this book. I already have it downloaded on my phone.
No, I thought he mentioned before, like pictures are so expensive when you put them in books. So that's why he limits maybe the graphics and pictures inside. I think I remember him mentioning that.
Should hire
Yeah,
So
but
you, Mark, to draw 'em.
I misunderstood it, and I thought it would have made more sense because he doesn't really tell you who he's talking to until at the very end, and then it's like, well, I can't remember the order of the people anymore.
mm. Well, we got to come out with our own then, whatever our own 15. I don't know, whoever's been on this channel, we got to come out with our own book or something. Once we all hit our goals, or it doesn't even matter if you're in the process of hitting your goal, right? I think people will find that more interesting. Yeah. So what you guys got planned for today, the rest of the day?
Hey, I got the duty. I got the 24-hour duty, so I'll be on coming at 3:30. So I'll have to catch the first half of the Washington Commanders game. Let them put up at least 28 before half, and then I can go to work with peace. If not, I'll just be thinking about it.
Well, I don't know. Caleb is going to be pushing him for Rookie of the Year, I think, in the way Caleb is coming on. So,
Yeah, second half he's been doing well. Doing really
yeah.
well.
Yeah, I saw Curtis nod his head. He knows what's up.
Oh, jeez.
What was I gonna say though? You just said you're shit, I can't remember. Sorry, man. What do you guys got, Jack, Curtis?
I'm gonna do Christmas lights. I'm gonna go out and enjoy the beautiful day, this beautiful, now
19
30-degree weather,
that's a lot better.
and I'm gonna
Yeah.
do some Christmas lights, drink hot chocolate, warm apple cider.
Ooh, I don't know about that.
Later tonight, me and Cynthia are gonna go check out the Christmas lights display.
Jack's getting festive.
Yeah.
Season.
Eggnog. Are you guys eggnog? Thumbs up, thumbs down?
Nah, man,
I'm a
me.
thumbs down.
Yeah, I don't know how people drink that. Yeah.
There's a joke that runs in my family. It's about eggnog. It goes something like the proper way to drink eggnog. You buy it, you dump it down the drain, and then you just drink the rum.
Probably a lot of
Uh,
truth to that.
yeah. But I think I've figured out coconut wireless issues. So I guess the Mac Mini, I don't know. Oh, Curtis, you weren't here. So I sprung for a Mac Mini M4. So I think that has made a huge difference. So whatever I was using previously was probably the issue.
I also did not stream it on my a channel, so that way, if there was an issue, you can't blame me.
So Matt connected his channels.
Okay.
I tried X again. So right now I'm on YouTube and X. I think Matt's YouTube and X. I don't know if Jack connected his.
Just to
So yeah.
YouTube.
Okay. So actually, so I guess it seems to be maybe that was the issue. Whatever hardware I was using. Like I said, whenever I connected to Restream, the speed just really dropped. So maybe whatever device I was using couldn't handle streaming. So, but yeah, I like this new setup. I just gotta figure. It makes it easier for me to share everyone's channels and put all the links inside. So I just gotta get more familiar with how to bring things up without closing the main screen. but but yeah, I like it so far. I like it. I think it's gonna be fun. But yeah, this is always fun. I don't anything else you guys want to chat about? I mean, what Black Friday deals? Anything you guys bought? Anything else besides like hotel rooms? You guys like the Mac Mini? I didn't buy on Black Friday because I think you could save about $100, but then they said like shipping was like 8 weeks or something like that. So I was like, that's okay. Yeah,
Goodness.
yeah.
Yeah. It's a business
Yeah.
expense anyways for you.
How do y'all handle gifts? Because we're all trying to save to invest.
Well, I'm telling you now, you're not getting anything from me.
Yeah.
Or you know what? You might get an ORAT shirt. You know what you might get.
But like, do you guys go splurge on gifts? Do you guys have those awkward conversations where like, hey, I'm gonna buy you two things, or how do you guys like handle that?
I buy people what they need. So like last year, like so to start with, you can't ever make my parents happy, no matter what you get them. They're those types of people. So last year, I said I'm done with it. If they, it's like I'm not even going to try to get them a gift that they like. I'm just going to get them a gift that they need. That way, when I get yelled at for it, it doesn't really matter as much. So I bought them doorknobs because all the doorknobs were going bad. So I bought them doorknobs, gave them each $50, called it a day.
Nice. That's cool.
I gave my dad one for the front door. I gave my mom one for the back door.
Yeah, I like it.
It was a set pack, so I actually had to break it apart and wrap them individually.
Oh man, that's awesome.
That's
That's
funny.
funny.
What about you,
Yeah,
Matt? What do you shop for?
dude, for gifts between my wife and I, we just straight up ask, hey, would you need anything? Or we agree like we'll spend money on experiences instead of material things. So like a trip out to Vegas is kind of what we're doing, and that's like a little Christmas gift for us, I guess. Um, we don't try to make it a big deal.
What about you, Curtis?
Well, my family is talking to me about gifts. Like, so what do you want? Like, how we doing this gift thing? And I I love them. I really do. And so I try to be respectful this time. Hey, I don't really need anything. I don't have space for nothing. I'm too big for you to try to buy me clothes because nothing's gonna fit. I got long arms, long legs. Clothes don't fit right. And so it's just trying to have those conversations, kind of make it more like experience based, like with like Matt was like trying to say there, like, okay, like I don't really need anything, but could we? If you do want to buy me clothes, don't buy me clothes. Just tell me that you want to go shopping with me. Or
You want one of these?
oh, I'm sick. You're making me
Oh
This,
throw
or
man,
you
that
want like
sounds
this? You want like Crocs?
up.
we got
or
Crocs for
our
kids.
family's talking about going to like in Nashville. All right, cool, cool. That's
Yeah.
something we can all kind of do. And so a little bit more of that experience space because I got a big old like a family. So if we all buy like each other stuff, it's like what's really the point?
Mhm.
Mhm.
I'll
You
get
should
you
tell
a,
them each to
adjustable
give
hat.
you.
What was that,
You should
Jack?
tell. You should tell each of them, Curtis, to just give you money. That way you can buy another rental property.
Yeah.
Just
Keeps it simple.
yeah. Just keep it simple. Just 30K is a good down payment. Just 30K divided by how many? Just tell them that's what you want.
I just need a small loan of $1 million.
Mhm.
All right. Well, this was fun. I think everything worked out well. Yeah, we'll be more structured then next time. We'll send that.
Mm.
Nah,
You might be. I like winging
n-
it.
no, I like winging it too because it's like I don't know who can come on, right? It's like a lot of times it's just trying to figure out who, because if it's one person, then it's a little different, right? Because you can kind of schedule,
Sure.
but then trying to get multiple people on because even some other people wanted to do today, but they couldn't do this time. And then you guys happened to reply first. I said, so and so replied already, and then they're good at this time. So a lot of times it's whoever replies back first, right? So I try to accommodate because they already, committed to a certain time. So MJ, if you're out there, sorry, man, but we'll schedule something for the weekend. Denzel I don't know if you guys remember Denzel. He's in Detroit, but he's ready to get back on. I don't know if you guys remember me talking about him, but he had some unfortunate incident at his property a few months back. He was supposed to be on a live and he didn't pop in. And I was like, oh, and I was messaging him and I didn't hear back from him for a while, but he did have a fire at his unit. So but yeah, he messaged me, said he's ready to hop back in. So that should be fun, catching up and kind of hearing, his situation and how he's handled that. But yeah, if anyone else is in the school community, also just remember there is an accountability group today at. Do you guys remember? It's at
On
11.
Sundays.
Yeah, it's Jared. It's Jared's one. I believe it's 11, maybe 1 o'clock Pacific, somewhere around there. But go check the school calendar. Jared runs that one. But yeah, yeah, you can wrap it up. Or if anything else, you have a lot of final words or anything else, or any more interviews or stuff you're doing, Curtis. Any other channels you're going to be on? 'Cause
Not at the moment, but I'll probably schedule some for when I'm on winter break here in a few weeks because I'll get 2 full weeks off, and so
Oh,
there's
nice.
not really an excuse not to get some people on.
Cool. Jack, what about you? I know you came out with some video. I think you had a fun time with Renee, landlord, right? Forever landlord. That was a good
Mhm.
chat you guys had, but that seemed very impactful for you, right?
Yeah, that was a really good video. I kind of went in with like a bullet point thing of how I kind of wanted to go through. I sat down with Renee, in the first 30 seconds, he kind of just threw the whole script out the door. And it was kind of like being over here. It's like, well, I guess we're winging this one, but it was
No.
a good episode.
Yeah, Renee's great. I saw you did one with Max. Max is a funny guy too. So go check out Jack's channel. Putting out a lot of stuff. Did you guys notice too? I think the YouTube Shorts, did they change it now to 90 seconds? You can have a short because before it
I
was only
thought I
60,
saw it
right?
Yeah.
change because like there's a lot of videos of mine that are like right around the minute 20, and as I'm uploading, it is now being considered shorts and stuff.
Yeah, I think they might have changed it to 90 seconds now because before it was 60 seconds. So that might be helpful. I'm not sure. I mean, but there, I don't know. It seems like my viewership or subscriptions have really lagged since maybe I've been talking more political stuff. But even like I put a short out and with Frank and it just got like nothing. Like there was like 3 or 4 views on it. I was like, that's kind of weird. But yeah, we'll see. But yeah, this was fun. I think everything worked out well. I think Curtis, next time you can link your channels. I think it shouldn't be any problem. But yeah, this was fun. You guys have a great Sunday, and
Appreciate it.
yeah, man, we'll do this again. Thanks, everyone.
Sir.
For sure.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.